All right, let's talk about artificial intelligence. Today, we're diving into a really big question. What does it actually take to trust these AI systems that are, let's be honest, shaping more and more of our world every single day? So to really get to the heart of this, let's start with a personal question. Have you ever wondered what keeps an AI expert up at night? It's probably not what you think. It's not just about code or killer robots. It's really about people. For starters, there's this huge concern about invisibility. I mean, think about it. When you apply for a loan or a new job or even look at colleges, an AI might be making the final call, and you would have absolutely no idea. That hidden influence on these huge life moments, that's a massive ethical red flag. And right alongside that is another big worry, our kind of blind faith in technology. There's this dangerous assumption that, well, because it's a machine, it must be objective, right? It must be free from all that messy human bias. But that could not be farther from the truth. An AI learns from data created by us, in our world. It can learn, reflect, and even amplify our absolute worst biases. Now, these fears aren't just, philosophical hypotheticals. They lead to a very real and very expensive problem in the business world, a crisis of trust that is literally causing AI innovation to grind to a halt.
Just take a look at this number. 80%. Let that just sink in for a second.
And here's the really wild part about that number. This isn't a failure of the technology itself. It's a failure of trust. The vast majority of these amazing AI projects, they never even leave the lab. Why? Because the very people they're built for, the employees, the managers, the customers, they just don't trust the answers the AI gives them. It's a huge roadblock to progress. Okay, so if the big problem is a lack of trust, what's the solution? Well, it's not just about writing better algorithms. It's about building a solid foundation of trust. And we can do that with a framework that's based on 5 absolutely essential pillars. Here they are. Think of these as the non-negotiables for any AI system we're even going to consider trusting: fairness, explainability, robustness, transparency, and data privacy. Let's just quickly break down what each one of these really means. First up, fairness. This is all about actively making sure that AI's decisions don't create, or worse, perpetuate bias against anyone, especially groups that have been historically disadvantaged. It's about equity. Second, explainability. This is huge. If an AI denies you a loan, you have a right to know why. Explainability means we can crack open that so-called black box and actually understand the logic, the data, and the methods that led to a decision. No more mystery. Pillar number 3 is robustness. You can think of this as the security pillar. Can we be sure that the model can't be hacked or tampered with? It's about protecting the system from bad actors who could try to use it to disadvantage some people and unfairly benefit others. All right, number 4, transparency. And this one's really just about basic honesty. Companies need to be totally upfront about when and where they're using AI to make decisions. No hiding it in the fine print. And we should be able to get information about the models they're using. And the 5th and final pillar, which is an absolute cornerstone, data privacy. It's fundamental. We have to be able to trust that our personal data is protected and that any AI system is using it responsibly. It's all about respecting our privacy. You can actually see these pillars reflected in the core principles of major AI developers. The philosophy is pretty clear. AI should be a tool to help us humans, not to replace us. Your data and your insights belong to you, and these systems simply must be transparent and explainable. So we have this great framework, right? The 5 pillars. But here's the thing. Just knowing about them isn't going to cut it. Building trust in AI isn't a problem you can solve just by writing better code. It needs a much bigger, more holistic approach.
We tend to look at this stuff and see a purely technological challenge, but the reality? It's a socio-technological challenge. And that socio part, the people, the culture, the society, that's the most important piece of the puzzle. You just can't separate the tech from the people it affects.
So what that really means is, because this is a fundamentally human issue, you can't just throw a new tool at it and hope for the best. The problem has to be tackled holistically, looking at it from every single angle. So what does that holistic solution actually look like? Well, it focuses on 3 key areas. And believe me, the order here is everything. It has to start with people, Then you move to process, and only then do you get to the tooling.
Let's break that down. First, it all starts with people. There's a proven concept called the wisdom of crowds, which basically shows that diverse groups of people are way less likely to make errors. So building diverse teams is your first line of defense against bias. Next, once you have the right people, you need the right process. This means setting up clear rules and standards. What does your organization actually promise when it comes to fairness and accountability? You got to write it down. And finally, only after you've sorted out the people and the process do you get to the tooling. That's when you bring in the right engineering methods and platforms to actually build those 5 pillars of trust directly into the tech. So this framework gives us the tools to really start questioning and scrutinizing the AI that's weaving itself into our lives. And that brings us to one last powerful question. And this one isn't for the experts, it's for you. As AI becomes a bigger and bigger part of your world, from your social media feed to a job application, you have to ask yourself, is the AI in your life trustworthy?